I went to New England last fall because one of the biggest things I've been wanting to do for the last couple of years is see the fall foliage in New England, because every year I see photos on Instagram of all these crazy colors. And I used to live up in the Midwest, so I know the colors can be really pretty. But according to all these Instagram posts, these colors are insane. So for this video, I'm going to be showing you my New England trip. I hit up Acadia for the first couple days, and then we went to New Hampshire, and then ended the week in Stowe, Vermont. If you're curious about how I would rate all these places and what I got up to for my week in New England, go ahead and stick around and you'll find out. I headed straight to Bar Harbor, Maine to check into my hotel that I was going to be staying at for the first 2 nights of this trip. And I completely forgot that my hotel had a balcony. So that was a fun surprise. And as soon as I threw all my stuff down and got checked in, I immediately decided to head out to Acadia National Park, because at this point it wasn't even 5 o'clock yet. One of the places my dad recommended I check out was this area where you could walk across at low tide and then end up at an island. And I thought at the time that it was Sand Beach in Acadia, but it is not. Sand Beach is still very pretty, so I am still happy that I went to go check that out, but I figured out where my dad was talking about after that, and so I went to go check that out the next day, but we'll get there. And then I headed back into town and got dinner, and then went to bed because I wanted to do the Beehive Trail loop early the next morning. So I had done a little bit of research before this, so I knew Beehive had a ladder section, and people did warn that if you are scared of heights to not do this trail, or at least keep that in mind. And when you're heading up, there aren't any signs at the very beginning, but there is an area that you get to where it does warn you, like, hey, there are 2 different ways to go at this point. You can go right and do the ladder section and get up to the summit, or you could take the other way and head up to the summit that way, where you skip the ladder section. But the whole point of doing this is I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. So of course I went right to do the ladders. So today we are climbing Beehive, and last night when I was posting pictures of Sand Beach, it was actually right there. So I was down there last night, and now we're up here. And I just did the ladder section, and it was terrifying. And I'm hoping that was it for the ladder section, but we'll see. But it was still a really cool experience. It was definitely one of my favorite trails that I did during this vacation. And making it up to the summit was very pretty. It was definitely worth it. And then I actually ended up talking to my dad again and asking him where it was he recommended to go to do that walk across to the island. And that's when I found out this is actually in Bar Harbor. So when I was in town, I walked down to the area where this trail is supposed to be, because I was just curious what it was gonna look like when I came back later during low tide. So I went and checked that out, and then I went back to the hotel, hung out for a little bit before I headed back out to this trail at low tide. And it looks a lot different. It was really cool though to be able to see like how much the water changes throughout the day. And there were a ton of people out there with me tide pooling, which was fun. So I walked across and headed to the island across the way, which I was actually surprised to see when I got out there that there was a sign saying that it was part of Acadia National Park. So that was kind of cool. It's a very short and easy trail though, but don't expect any kind of crazy views at the end of it. I walked all the way to the end where the summit was, but you make it to this clearing, which apparently is the summit, and you get okay views of the city. I'll post a picture of what it looks like, but compared to what I saw when I was doing Beehive earlier in the day, the views just don't compare. But it was still a cool thing to check out. Hello everybody. So today I had the 4-hour drive from Bar Harbor, Maine to North Conway, New Hampshire, and just got done with the 4-hour drive. Went past my hotel because we're just gonna hit the day off with hikes, which, by the way, look at this. How stinking cute are all these leaves? Okay, we are doing Mount Willard. Quick look at the map. Bear country, of course. Okay, but yes, we're doing Mount Willard today, which is another short but difficult hike, kind of like how Beehive was in Acadia. It's a 1.5 miles out and then back, but you gain 800 or 900 feet or something on this one. Beehive was just over 500. So almost doing double what I did for that one. But this is supposed to give really good views at the summit. So we'll see. If I see anything fun on the way up, I'll show it to you guys. Otherwise, I'll see you at the top. I made it to the top of Mount Willard Trail here in Crawford Notch State Park. It is definitely cold. I think it's only like 53 degrees right now. Very windy, but it feels so good, especially when you're climbing 1.5 miles. It's just an incline. I was checking all trails, and it seems like most of that trail was actually at like a 16% grade. And I may have started doing a little bit of the stair stepper at the gym, but nothing like this. So definitely took my breaks. Yeah, we made it up to the top, enjoying the nice view. Good morning. It's been a little bit since I did an update. Today we are just driving the Kankamagus, I already know I'm not saying that right, highway between Conway and Lincoln. So not a lot of driving for me today, which is great because my last 2 big trips have been 4 hours each. This highway is only about 35 miles. There's so many stops on the way though, and there's even some hikes that can be done. So we're just driving, stopping where we can, seeing what we can see. Might do a couple hikes, or I might just keep going to Lincoln and then head up north to Franconia Notch State Park and do some hikes up there. We'll see how the day goes. So far though, I've hit up the Albany Covered Bridge, and then here we were at Lower Falls Scenic Area. Now we're at Rocky Gorge Scenic Area. Super pretty spot. As you can tell, we are here past peak, but there are still some beautiful leaves and trees in the area. But it's still gorgeous, nonetheless. And I mean, even without the leaves, I enjoy being in the mountains. And so just being up here, and also in the colder weather. I woke up this morning, the temp was 38. I was a little worried because since I've been in Florida for the last 5 years, I haven't had to deal with 30-degree temps in a while, but it feels great. I did go to Walmart, I did get some gloves, just because since I'm out here using my camera equipment and stuff, I want to be able to still feel things. But
Honestly, if it wasn't for my camera equipment, I think I'd be fine. That was Sabaday Falls that we were just at. It is 0.6 miles total there and back. Really easy trail. There's just one area that has like a steep hill, but it's very short. I'm currently debating going back though about a mile on the road because we passed a really cool tree that was literally like bright fire orange, and I haven't seen anything else like that yet. It is like 30 degrees up here. I left my gloves in the car. It's cold, but it is so pretty. Alright guys, that was the top of the observation tower. It was so windy and so cold, but I did the little hike. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but there was definitely snow at the top of those trees. Whew. It's a really bad idea to leave the gloves in the car. I didn't think about how much colder it was going to be up at the top than it was down at the bottom. I can barely feel my lips. But I think it's time to head back and take the tram back down and head out. I was gonna get food here, but it looks like it was kind of just like cafeteria style, and I know there's some really good places back at the town of Lincoln. So yeah, you guys might be able to see the snow falling off the trees right now. Whew. All right. Oh yeah, it's definitely coming down right here. All right, we're almost back. Just got down from Cannon Mountain where it snowed on my head, and now I'm walking Artist Bluff, which is a very popular trail out here in Franconia State Park. Look at the orange of these leaves. How cute. But this is a pretty quick trail. It's the signs say 1.5 mile loop, but the rangers at the front told me it's more like 1.2. So we should be able to knock this out in about an hour, including stopping up at the top and getting some good photos and videos. I almost didn't do this because I was so cold from being at the top of the mountain, but I was only 3 minutes away from this parking lot. So I mean, either do it today or I don't do it at all. So here we are. Hopefully the views at the top are super nice. Other thing I forgot to mention while I'm still at the top of Artist Bluff. So you can actually see the tram that I took to get to the top of that other mountain. So I was right down there, and then you take the tram up there. We're almost back to the car from Artist Bluff. It's like a solid 28 degrees outside right now. And we're doing the Flume Gorge hike. It's about a 2-mile walk. Some good uphill. Hopefully we'll see some good waterfalls though. crazy thing about all this, we were told at the beginning by the staff that they have to tear down this boardwalk and rebuild it every year at the beginning of the season. Can you even imagine? Like, look at this. So that was the entire boardwalk. It's still kind of crazy to think that they have to tear that down and rebuild it every year. But it makes sense. Otherwise it would mostly get destroyed in the winters up here. But we just hit a mile. So it's probably another mile back to the visitor center. But all in all, that was a super cool hike. I thought coming in at 9 a.m. that would save me from the crowds. But apparently not. But all is good. It's only the start of the day. I'll see what other shenanigans I get up to today. Whew. I've already started climbing, so I'm out of breath. But I finally made it to Stowe. Currently hiking Sterling Pond Trail. It is a 1,000-foot gain in a mile. So essentially all straight uphill. I've passed quite a few people who told me they did not make it up. They turned around. So we'll see if I give up or if I make it. Y'all, not gonna lie, it was not really worth it. But compared to the other stuff I've seen so far on this trip, this hike was not worth it. It wasn't even like an overlook. You just like walk out to the pond. And now after all that, I gotta go back. Today's the last full day of my trip. Unfortunately, I didn't get all the crazy leaves like I wanted. Acadia was really cool. I'm really happy I got to see that national park for like a day and a half. Got beehive, lupin, which was super cool. All the seafood I had while in Bar Harbor was delicious. I'm really not that much of a seafood person, but that lobster was amazing. And then Crawford Notch was cool. I liked the hike that I did there. Mount Willard was really cool. It just sucked that it had rained that morning, so everything was like soaking wet. And anytime I have fallen on a hike, it's been on wet rock. So I was on guard that whole hike, just trying to make sure that I didn't slip and fall. And luckily, I have made it so far, almost to the end of this trip without falling. So that's exciting. But I think my favorite area so far has definitely been Franconia Notch State Park. That place was gorgeous, and the hikes I did there were they were really cool. The Flume was really pretty. The whole highway, which I still don't know if I'm saying correctly, Kankamagus. Oh my god, my ears just popped. Whew. The Kankamagus, that highway was gorgeous. Definitely, if you're going to do the trip though, go early. I headed out there, I think around maybe 8 or 9. So I mean, not insanely early. And I was able to find parking at pretty much every spot I wanted to stop at. The The overlooks, in my opinion, were a little overrated for this trip, but I think that's just because I was here past peak. The overlooks would probably be really, really beautiful when you're here during peak time and all the trees at the overlook are like bright shades of orange and yellow. But for this trip, I definitely preferred the stops that were next to water. So like the falls, that was a very pretty hike to do, very short, very easy. And then the the stops where it leads to like the Gorge and places next to the river that goes through there, those were really pretty as well. But I'm almost to the top finally. Look at this view. So we're gonna explore up here, see if we can find some fun stuff, and then we'll be back down. We almost made it down without stopping, but unfortunately, we stopped. You know, good on the people that are hiking up and down this instead of taking the little tram. But couldn't be me. So Stowe is the last place I'm visiting before I head back to Boston tomorrow to fly home. And Stowe is definitely the most packed out of everywhere I've been this whole week. There's literally people everywhere. I've been sitting on this rock for like the last 20 minutes just trying to wait for it to like calm down a little bit for me to record. I'm ready. It's been a great trip, but I'm ready to go home and see my babies. But yeah, I figured I would at least give some kind of update in like the fall leaves-ish. I'm going to see if I can find another spot too before I call it. So we'll see.
Alright, so I sat there for a while waiting for it to calm down, but unfortunately traffic just kept coming. I ended up just going back into Stowe, walking over to a pizza place in town, getting dinner, and calling it a night. And then I'd love to say that my final day there was fine, but I ended up driving back to Boston. My flight was originally going to leave at like 6 p.m. and I got to the airport close to like 2 or 3 o'clock. And then there was a big storm that came through that day, which is why I didn't stop anywhere on the way back to the airport. And I ended up getting stuck at the airport because my flight kept getting delayed. I didn't land back in Florida until like almost 4 in the morning. And then I don't live close to the airport, so there was no way I was going into work that day. But yeah, so I already gave my thoughts earlier about the trip, but overall it was great. That day that I did the Cannon Mountain tram up to the top where I got snowed on, and then I came back down and I did Artist Bluff, I think that was probably my overall favorite day from the trip. That was just one cool experience after another, and the whole day just felt really good. I will probably go back again sometime and check out some other areas in New England, because obviously what I hit up is not all of New England. There's so many different things you can do when you go up there. Yeah, hopefully the next time I go, I actually am there during peak. Hopefully there's not a drought and all the leaves are actually that beautiful hue. Thanks for watching this video, and hopefully I will see you in another one. Bye-bye.